Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, KG, and with me, as always, Mark. What's going on, man?
A whole lot.
Yep, man. Have you ever woke up in the morning and you're tired, you didn't feel like going to work, or you didn't feel like going to work out, or whatever you needed to do? I know that happens to me quite often. I don't sleep very well at nighttime. But I tell you what, man, Get Your Bell Rung Pro Wrestling Podcast. We have actually partnered up with Doobie. Let me tell you something about Doobie. This is unlike any other energy drink I have ever had. A lot of times you take those energy drinks because you're tired, you're sluggish, and it may pick you up, but man, in about an hour, you come crashing down. Doesn't happen with Doobie. You don't get the jitters and you don't have a crash whenever you're starting to come down. And what's awesome, people like me who has type 2 diabetes, guess what? No sugar at all added. And it tastes absolutely, oh my gosh, man. This is such a great tasting energy drink. Try it. I encourage everyone to at least give this a try one time. I promise you, you will consistently buy more when you're done. If you go and go to the website, type in www.doobie.gg/discount/get your bell rung, you'll get a 10% discount on your purchase. I will leave the web address and the discount code, Get Your Bell Rung, at the bottom, scrolling on the screen, guys. I'm telling you, check this out. You will absolutely love it. You go to the website. There's so many different flavors that you can order. My favorite thus far is called Odor Block. Well, it's actually this is like a strawberry that I have that I really enjoy. Order your product. When you go to pay for it, it's going to tell you to put in a discount code if you have any. Put in Get Your Bell Rung, and again, you'll get 10% off. And look, the stuff is super cheap, man. I mean, you'll pay about $30 after you discount for it. You get 30 servings in it. A lot less expensive than going by 30 Monsters or 30 Red Bulls. So check this out, guys. Again, there is the web address with the discount code. Get Your Bell Rung. Get 10% off. Be better. We are doing our recap or review of Smackdown last night. And I tell you, the past 24, 48 hours have been a very emotional time for wrestling fans, especially for those of us who grew up in the 80s with the loss of Hulk Hogan. And I tell you that WWE did not disappoint last night with their tribute to Hulk Hogan.
No, not by any means. They did a nice job. I expected more, to be honest, but I'm happy with what I got.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they soon as they went on air, they went into having everybody from the locker rooms up front with a big banner of Hulk Hogan, did the 10 bell salute to him, then with a beautiful package, a video package they put together. And I tell you, what was even more impressive was that they actually took the time to have those who were very close to Hogan there as well. We've seen, of course, Jimmy Hart, be Brian Blair, which was really good to see Brian on the show last night for that day memorial to remember Hulk Hogan. Brian Blair is a great guy. I've had the opportunity to meet him a few times. Such a great guy. He was very good friends. We seen Hacksaw Jim Duggan there last night as well. Just a lot of great legends who worked with Hulk Hogan, and as well was very good friends with him.
The one thing I picked up out of that is during that 10 bell salute, You could have heard a pin drop. That crowd was just utterly silent. They showed their respect.
Yeah, and I tell you what, man. Bob Cook said this. I'm not going to take the credit for saying this. Bob Cook, when I was talking to him, made the comment that exactly what you said, seeing the respect and the love for Hulk Hogan from the audience there last night really restored your faith in humanity or society. Because there was so much garbage being said about Hogan over social media by dumbass people, and to see that crowd last night pay their respects, the signs, people crying. Um, you know, I agree. It really kind of restored that hope in society that we're not just this group of people walking around this earth that are surrounded by a bunch of dumbasses. And Bob also brought this out as well. There's a lot more love out there for Hogan than it was hate. So
Yeah, it was nice to see Wade Barrett rank him up with some of the greats of Ali and Michael Jordan.
right, right,
You know,
absolutely. Terry Zeller, friend of mine, talking about a great guy as well. He was in the industry for many years. Um, he actually had a little segment with a segment with Hogan back. I mean, not Hogan, Jesus, with Lex Luger back in the day. He's been on the podcast. Great seeing you on, my friend. Thank you for watching the podcast. I appreciate it, Terry.
all right, you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it, man.
All right, so we start with Logan Paul, the ring. Logan taking accolades for thank you, Logan, instead of thank you, Hogan.
Uh, you know, at first I didn't know how, for about 5 seconds, I didn't know how I felt about that. But I mean, look, there's no doubt that Hogan himself would have gotten a laugh out of that. And it was part of wrestling. Raw, SmackDown did what they were supposed to do, went on with the show. That's what Hogan would have wanted. And I thought that the segment, that at least that part of the segment last night with Logan Paul was pretty good.
Yeah, I got a chuckle out of it. It wasn't in poor taste, yeah, but is it keeping with Logan's character? Oh yeah,
Right.
you know. So, pretty soon Jelly Roll comes out. They have War of the Words, whatnot. Pretty soon Drew comes out, and they think they got Jelly Roll, on a 2-on-1, and Jelly Roll just starts singing Randy Orton's song, and Randy Orton appears.
Yeah.
So,
So
go ahead.
I, I'm going to be honest. And it's not just Jelly Roll. I am not a huge fan of bringing in celebrities, right, into the wrestling business and them having matches. Never have been, probably never will be. There's exceptions. Logan Paul is an exception just because of how damn good he is, right? I understand why WWE does it, right? It is closing that gap between pop culture and professional wrestling. You get more eyes on the product because of Johnny Rose fans. I get it, just not a big fan of it. Just being honest.
Yeah, I get it and I understand it. But in a way, it's a one-off or an oddity, and I guess I look forward to just seeing what kind of contribution they can contribute.
Right, right.
As far as who they've had in the past, your Jay Leno's, your Rodmans or whatnot. Yeah, some of them flopped pretty hard. Rodman didn't do horrible, but and Rodman added a lot of the comedy to it.
Yeah.
Uh, your Jay Leno's, um, your Logan Paul was an exceptional rule. Who was the other gentleman? Bad Kitty or something, or
Yeah, yeah. Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny. That's it. Bad
Yeah.
Kitty. Sorry.
Yeah. And look, this is my thing with it. You don't see celebrities putting on boxing gloves or getting into, the, MMA, UFC, and going against their, stars. You don't see it, right? And because of that, I think it makes it look really hokey by bringing in these stars and putting them in the ring with these guys who are the best of the best, the top of the talent. And again, that's just my thing. I understand why WWE does it. Again, I completely understand it. It gets more eyes on their product, but not a fan.
Fair enough. So a fight ensues, and memory serves me, and I kind of fell asleep a couple times. Sorry. Randy and Jelly Roll were left standing in the ring.
Yeah, I have to tell you this. I'm I don't ever criticize the talent as far as their abilities in the ring. But because of Jelly Roll not being an actual professional wrestler, I will criticize. That was the worst sidewalk slam I've ever seen in my life. Was when Jelly Roll did that to Logan Paul. I was like, that was terrible. Terrible.
You know, as far as Jelly Roll, you got to give him some props because the guy was like, what, 550, 600 pounds damn near,
Oh, absolutely.
and now he's trimmed down to like 350 or something,
Yeah,
you
look,
know?
look, I agree with you. He looks great. Props for him. Props for him for taking on the task of at least getting in somewhat ring shape to get into the ring for SummerSlam. Not taking that away from him. Just saying, not a fan. And obviously, he's not a professional wrestler because even a sidewalk slam that he did last night, I was just kind of shook my head at it. But again, that's just me. Not a fan of this whole celebrity thing.
I just get more of a kick out of it. I take it for what it is. All right, so next we go to a vignette of Andrade and Ray Phoenix. I don't mind the vignette, but Andrade's suit just bothered me for some reason. He looked
Yeah.
like some sort of southern backwoods hick going to church on Sunday. You know, I don't know what it was, but that suit just did not sit well with me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I actually liked it. I love this team. I think they look great together. I think they work together. The only thing that concerned me was this. I'm hoping that they put the title on these guys. Um, but the fact that, after this vignette, there was not a name for their tag team that came out of this vignette, it made it appear to me that it's just going to be two guys they decide to put together right now that eventually they're going to sooner rather than later, they're going to break up, probably go into some type of a feud. Which don't get me wrong either. I think that would be a phenomenal match between those two guys, right? But I was hoping that we would see them carry the tag team titles for a while. Now I have my doubts that that's going to happen.
Do they really need a name though?
No, but there's a lot of teams that don't need names that they gave them names to legitimize their partnership.
All right. All right, so next we go to Alexa Bliss and Ric Flair. Sorry, Charlotte Flair to the ring. Charlotte carrying the pom poms. Alexis is taking on Roxanne. Through this little hook, snook, and confusion, Roxanne got the pin. Although it looked like midget wrestling last night, to be honest, between the two of them.
Yeah, I tell you what, of all people to tell me this, something I should have been telling my wife. Instead, my wife informed me. And my wife's not a professional wrestling fan, right? But I think she's starting to become a closet fan because she's starting to tell me little things. Last night, when she seen Charlotte and Alexa Bliss came out, she's like, "Did you read the interview that Charlotte gave?" And I went, "No." She's like, "Well, I was reading that Charlotte said that her and Alexa Bliss was supposed to be very, very short-lived, basically a one-off, right? But because of the accolades the fans started giving Charlotte Flair, Charlotte requested that they keep her and Alexa Bliss together longer than they were supposed to. So, and look, she's getting the love from the fans now that she's been with Alexa Bliss, and you can it. Charlotte Flair is actually looking better as well. So I like this team. At first, I didn't. I didn't like the comedy that they were doing, that Charlotte was doing. Is started to kind of rub off on me, I guess. And yeah, I've become a fan of this. And this is another team that I hope that SummerSlam they put the belts on them.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to see it. And for some odd reason, Charlotte does look better, but
Yeah,
maybe it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown.
yeah, that's what
You
they
know.
say. Well, it almost looks like there's been some type of a relief that happened in her life, and maybe it is look. I get that Charlotte was supposed to be a heel, but she was getting beyond heel heat, man. There was some serious, I mean, personal. I think Charlotte was taking it personal. She was going through a really rough time in her personal life. And I think that having the fans cheer for her, chant her name, show her love, in some way has kind of helped her with her personal struggles that she had been having. Or maybe she just needed to feel the love because, as we both said, she absolutely looks a shit ton better than what
Yeah,
she has previously.
yeah. So, anyways, during this match, it looked like Alexa Bliss was just toying with Roxanne. I mean, the match was pretty much a squash match until the shenanigans. You
Yeah.
know.
So I want to go to the crowd for a second. Throughout most of the show, the there was a weird feel to the crowd. At least in my perspective, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of energy. I really think that tribute to Hogan, and as long with Hogan passing as well, I think that, like I said, it's been a rough 24 to 48 hours. That it's taken a lot out of our fans. We lost this major icon. For a lot of us, lost some of our childhood. And I think that it really showed last night in that crowd, because I just didn't feel that energy that you normally would feel from a Raw or a SmackDown.
Yeah, I think you're right. To be honest, um, they were quieter than normal. To be
Yeah,
honest, I think.
yeah,
All right, so next we go to an interview with Jade. Chelsea comes in, starts talking smack, and at some point, Jade kind of slips behind her and then attacks her from behind, which leads to a match between Jade and Chelsea.
and talk about a squash match.
Yep.
This, and you know what? Good. I'm gonna say we can move on from this segment.
All right. Well, after the match, they have a beatdown on Jade.
Yep,
Tiffany comes out to help out Jade. They kind
yeah,
of work pretty good together as a team.
yep,
Um, and then there's the little squabble for the world title that Tiffy carries. Jade didn't want to let go, and Tiffy reminded her that she's still the champion.
yeah. I'm telling you that I just have this strong feeling that at SummerSlam for that match, we might just very well see Jay Cargill turn heel. I think Jay's going to win it, but I think she's going to cheat to win it. I really do.
She's much better as a heel, anyhow.
Oh, I agree 100%.
I mean, just looking at her as an average ordinary person, you got to hate her because of the drive and determination she has to have a body like that. And you don't, obviously. I don't, obviously. You know, and
Whoa. Don't be putting that shit. Talking about, I don't, obviously, motherfucker.
I've seen your
Wow.
beer belly.
Hey, buddy, since I've been taking Doobie and because of the internet, I'm very serious. Since I've been taking this stuff and because I've been having this newfound energy, I've started working out again. I've started doing long walks again, and I'm down 18 pounds.
All
So
right. Well, that was a nice segue into that. Unintentional, but, all right. Way to take the opportunity. All right. So next we go to Flair and Bliss backstage. And I didn't see Bliss got bloodied, but she
yeah,
got bloodied.
You didn't notice during. I didn't notice it until the very end
Yeah, when
of
they
the
mentioned
match.
it.
Yeah, that she got bloodied. But it was only like little droplets of blood, right?
Yeah,
Man, when she got backstage, it looked like someone punched her in the nose, like legit punched her in the nose, and blood just went everywhere.
yeah. Well, you got 30 seconds to smear it on your face. So,
Yep, yep,
anyways, um, Bliss alluded to something, and she thought Fred or Flair was going to say they're friends, and Flair kind of reminded her, no, we're just partners.
yep, yep. But what I love is um how Flair kind of threw in there. Maybe after we win the belts, I'll say
Right,
so.
right, right. Yeah, I like
That was
that
great.
too.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, so next we go to Cody to the ring. A recap of last week's contract signing where he leapt off the top rope, and yeah, I got a better look at this one, and yeah, he looked like a lead balloon to be honest. There was no finesse; it was just a quick leap and bam.
Yep. Now,
But then,
don't get me wrong, and I think you will agree, we are not in any way, shape, or form insinuating that you or I could do that any better. Matter of fact, we'd probably mess it up. So, but it did look like that, you could tell that Cody is just not as comfortable doing those high
top
flying
ropes.
maneuvers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd probably fall getting up on the top rope.
Oh, absolutely.
But then he gave props to Hogan. He says, you can say what you want to say, but it's undeniable what he contributed
Right.
to this sport.
Right.
So I got to give Cody props on that one too. Then he went into a little rant about he didn't want to face John Cena as he currently is. He wants to face the loyalty, hustle, and respect John Cena, which he's not going to get.
No,
Um,
I disagree.
oh, you think so?
I think that SummerSlam, I mean, I partially I partially agree with you or partially disagree with you, whatever way you want to go with it, right? I think at SummerSlam, we're going to, at the minimum, start to see those seeds planted with John Cena turning back into a baby face if he doesn't turn full back into a baby face. And shit, I'll be honest with you, there's nothing more that I would love than to see a double turn. Cena turn baby face, Cody Rhodes turn heel. I know that probably won't happen. I doubt if Cody's good. They're going to turn Cody heel just yet, but I would love to see that happen. I've been saying it for months. I love a heel Cody Rhodes, but I do think at the minimum we're going to see some type of a small turn by John Cena, leading him going back into being a babyface.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a point in time where he might have a momentary lapse of should I do this or not? A moral
Okay.
conflict.
Right.
You know. All right. So next we go to a recap of last week's car accident. My only question is why it was poor the first time. Um, then we go to a solo uh, versus Jacob Cage match. Then we go to Jacob having a rant on solo. The Miz comes in.
Yeah, and let me tell you, and I know that they were in Cleveland last night. That is the Miz's home turf. But man, when they first showed him coming in to confront Fatu, uh, talk about getting a pop. He got a really really big pop. And good for him. He deserves it. Uh, I laughed though when Miz slapped Fatu. That was just funny to me. I was like, oh man, you're about to get your ass kicked.
Yep, yep. Miz knows his role and knows his place. And the fact that he slapped Jacob Fatu, I was kind of like, wow, that was pretty ballsy. You know.
Yep. Yep.
So, anyways, it leads to a match between Miz and Jacob. Um, Not much to say. It was pretty much a squash match.
I will say this though, the one thing that I didn't like about this match was the finish of it. The fact that Fatu was able to pin the Miz by not doing his normal signature move, but by just a Samoan drop, right? He threw him in the air, caught him, did Samoa drop. Um, I wish it would have been a normal finish. I mean, Miz is a former world champion. As a matter of fact, Miz is a Grand Slam champion. Uh, Twice. Yep. Yep. And again, that's just a tiny little critique. It's nothing major. It's just my preference. I really wish we would. Not to mention, I love Fatu's finisher. You know, the way he runs up the rope because does the flip. I love watching him do it. So I really wish that it would have been the normal finish, but it wasn't. So be it.
Yep. So we get interjected with an Alistair and Damian Priest vignette. The vignette really didn't do much for me, but I am excited about this match just because Alistair Black's in it. Uh, Meanwhile, back in the ring,
Let me
so
stop you with that though. You notice in both of their vignettes that they did, both Aleister Black and Damian Priest, they kind of mentioned in the roundabout way how they're really, not a whole, they're not alike the way people tries to compare them, right? They kind of said that. And I was thinking, man, do you think that teaming up Aleister Black with Damian Priest, I think that that would be a phenomenal team. I really, really do.
I think I'd bring out a side of Priest that you haven't seen,
Right.
you know, along the lines of, Alistair's black background, you
Yeah, well,
know.
I just think that Damian Priest has that he's not as dark as Aleister Black, right? But he still has that dark character per se. And I think that team would really complement each other. And I also think that a team of Aleister Black and Damian Priest going against the Wyatts would look really, really good.
Yeah.
Just my 2 cents.
All right. So, anyways, and that vignette was before the Miz match, I guess. Solo comes out during the match. After the match, attacks Fatu. Fatu gets upper hand for a second. There was some poor looking headbutts against the rope, though. Holy cow. Um, a beatdown ensues. Jimmy comes out.
The whole thing with Jimmy coming out, I'll be honest with you. If I was 5'2", I would tell Jimmy at this point, look, bro, your family, I love you, but please stop coming out because you get your ass kicked. And next thing you know, I'm thinking you're taking care of this guy. He's kicking your ass, and now I'm getting jumped from the back. At least if I'm by myself, I know that I got to pay attention to what's going on behind me. I mean,
Right.
Jimmy just has not been a whole lot of help to 5'2" at this point.
No, but it's done wonders for Jimmy's career, I think.
It really has.
Um, all right. So, next we go to an interview with the Street Profits. DIY comes in. They're going to fix this problem with the Wyatt sick, and your job is just to stay out of their way.
Yep. I can
Uh,
tell you that. Well, we'll get to it. I'll talk more once we
all
get
right.
to it.
Next, we go to Julia, and Kiana James is her representative. Now, we haven't seen Kiana James in a while. I thought she was released.
Yeah, yeah. I was surprised to see her, but I'm not going to lie. I like this. Julia can. I mean, yeah. So she can speak pretty legible English, right? But it's still kind of broken. Having that mouthpiece um really adds another depth to Julia, and I think it's a great pairing. And again, I think it just legitimized Julia as being this badass. I personally liked it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't mind it either. Although I loved it when Zelina called her a clipboard Karen. I thought that was just so unexpected that it was pretty good. Not Tony Storm good, but still good nonetheless. Zelina invokes her rematch clause, and Julia pretty much accepts.
Yeah. So Terry wants to know, what do we think is going to happen when Liv comes back? I really believe that when Morgan comes back, man, we're going to see her in that babyface role. Um, Unfortunate as far as I'm concerned. I prefer a heel Liv Morgan. Um, but yeah, that's just that's the only thing that makes sense, right? She's gonna come back talking about really, you guys really replaced me with this person that I already don't like to begin with. What about you, Mark?
Well, I think when anybody comes back from an injury, an extended period of time, I think they get that pop initially because people are happy to see them back, regardless of their heel or face. So you're kind of automatically put in that face mode that first
JJ,
match.
what's his face didn't? Your boy that got his lung punctured.
Oh, yeah, from Judgment Day.
Yeah, yeah, I
No, he
can't
got a
remember.
pop.
Yeah, but he didn't go into that baby face mode. He came right back into that heel mode.
Right, but when he first came back,
Oh
he
yeah,
was he it was a surprise.
right, right,
So, but usually your first appearance back without being a surprise,
right.
I mean, I look back at your Triple H's the numerous times he was out and he was a heel and he came back, the crowd went nuts, and it
Yeah,
was just a sign of respect. So you're inadvertently put in that face mode, you know,
yeah, yeah.
whether you want to or not.
Now
Now,
Terry,
now, whether you continue on with it is another story.
right now Terry thinks that teaming with Alexa would be great. Um, I can see that, Terry, but how would you get there? How would you get there with Alexa and Liv, teaming together? Um, because of
That's
where they're at
simple.
right now.
That's simple. Liz is taking a beat down. Alexa Bliss comes out to help.
Yeah, but
That's
that
simple.
wouldn't. I get that, but it wouldn't make sense because of her and Charlotte Flair being together right now.
Yeah, but you're
Unless
still
her and Charlotte
talking.
was right, unless they split up by then, by time Liv comes back. Yeah,
Yeah, you're still talking 3 months probably.
right, right,
I mean, even after the injury, she's got to retrain and get back into ring shape. So you're talking at least a month to 2 months after that.
right, right.
So,
Yep.
um, anyways, we end up with Andrade and Ray Phoenix versus the Wyatt Sick. This was a good match. I enjoyed this match actually.
It did, and then of course we had the interference, which went to disqualification. Then you seen pretty much the whole tag team division come out there, and this led to Nick Aldis saying, you know what, I've had enough of this. We're going to sell it at SummerSlam with a table, ladders, and chairs match. You pretty much, this baby realized last night just how small the tag team division is with WWE, with SmackDown, because you pretty much have the whole tag team division now in one match at SummerSlam. I mean, they
Uh,
really need to add some more players to their tag team division.
well, they did with Ray and Andrade, but
Well, yeah, that's
but
one
then they took
team.
out Las Garza.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. They need to add more because you're pretty much just seeing the same matches between the same five teams or however many it is. They really need to bring some tag teams from NXT or grow some homegrown tag teams.
Um, who is Dexter Lumis's partner? I can't remember his name.
Gacy,
He reminds me of Bray Wyatt.
a little bit. I think it's his build.
Yeah, it could be. Uh, but just as and even in NXT, he kind of had shades of Bray.
Yeah.
Um, where he had that moments of brilliance. You know,
Yep. Yep.
um, I like him. He doesn't have that traditional wrestler body, um, but he can move like all get out.
Right. Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, SmackDown, for at least for me, went by pretty fast last night. I give it a B plus.
I'll give it a B. It went by last night because I think throughout the whole show we were kind of reminiscing about Hogan.
Yeah. And that's something else I wanted to bring up. Not only did they do the tribute to Hogan last night, in the beginning, throughout the show, they kept on showing different things about Hogan. So, I told this to Bob as well, that, I've always respected WWE as a wrestling company. But I really gained a lot. I really respect them a lot more after, that tribute that they did to Hogan last night, because they could have slid away from it because of all of the dumb shit, that, some people were saying. The fact that they didn't, the fact that they honored the man as they should have. They honored and remembered him for the, everything that he did for professional wrestling. I really respect that, and so bravo to WWE for doing that. And since we got we went through the recap so quickly, I want to talk about something, because we didn't do the recap of Wednesday Night Dynamite, and we're not going to do a recap. But there's one thing, one complaint that I have that I do want to talk about briefly. So on Wednesday Night Dynamite, we seen Edge come out, and he basically said that he hired two guys to do some dirty work for him, because obviously he's not able to do it, because if he touches FTR, he gets suspended, fired, whatever it may be, right? Now, when this initially happened, I'm like, well, how's this work? Because her syndicate's supposed to be baby faces. I mean, heels, right? I mean, they're with MJF. My bitch is this. We all knew at some point, right? Something was going to happen between the Hurt Syndicate and MJF. I personally thought that when this happened, it would lead to, a pretty decent storyline between MJF. My guess was with Bobby Lashley. But Wednesday night, it was just a quick, simple, little argument between MJF and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley got everybody's throat, did thumbs down. And then it seems to be it. Right. And I know we can say, well, that was just the beginning, but when MJF went out to cut his promo, he didn't even address that. It was like, okay, it's done. Now I'm not with her to get no more. And that's it. Like, what the hell, man? We went through, what was it, 3 weeks of MJF trying to get into the Hurt Syndicate. It was this big thing, the things he had to do to prove himself. And then, boom, it's done. No more. That's it.
It's not over. They're gonna come out either tonight or Wednesday, and yeah, we've squashed it for now. Whatever. They're gonna build up to something bigger, and if they don't, then that's just how AEW operates.
Yeah,
But
like I
for now,
said,
I think they're gonna put a lid on it for now.
I was just, but that's the thing though. Putting a lid on it for now takes away from any type of steam that he could have had, right? It's kind of like we were bitching with the New Day, with this heel turn that they did that we've been waiting for, and then for months, nothing, barely even seen them, some backstage shit, and then by the time they finally put them back in the ring, yeah, they're getting booed, but the heat that they had, it was done, it was gone, because they let time go by and it cooled off. They put a lid on it, the shit's going to be the same thing. It's going to cool off between a potential really good feud between MJF and Hurt Syndicate.
I don't think it's going to go long afterwards. I think it's going to go 2-3 weeks, and then it'll be done.
Yeah. I don't know, just my complaint amongst a few others, but I don't feel like.
So you're just being an internet wrestling fan?
Kind of.
You better take more of Doobie.
No, actually, no. Don't even compare me to the IWC, because at least I'm using logic, whenever I talk about something. And on top of it, I'm just complaining about a booking or the lack of a story, right? I'm not screaming, oh, this person so sucks, and all the dumb shit IWC complains about. So don't be fucking, you know what? You're going to be my shit list, because thus far in this podcast,
I just made a list.
You put me in the same category as you, being out of shape. And now you just literally put me in the same category as the IWC. What the fuck, man?
I'm just happy I made the list.
Like
Only took me like what 9 months
that.
to publicly make the list.
Before we go, man, I have a some incredible guests coming this week on the podcast. Um, Rudy Gonzalez is going to be on Monday. Um, then on Wednesday, Matt Davis is going to be on. He's an actor, wrestler, motto. He also has a great podcast with Teddy Long. And then on the 31st, Kim Laurinaitis, the widow of Animals, she's going to be on. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this coming week with some really, really great guests. I had Buff Bagwell on yesterday, guys. If you missed that, go check that out. We talked about Hogan. We talked about, him losing his leg. Talked about his younger years. Talked about his run in WCW with the NWO. Because even talked about what happened with WWE. So check that out. Really good interview. So yeah, yep. Terry Zeller said he should add you, Mark, to his list as well. You see, he doesn't even know you. He knows he should add you to his list.
I'm still waiting for Disco Inferno's interview.
Yeah, me too. I'll let you do that one.
I don't know why all the hate for Disco. Disco was a good worker.
Yeah, I like Disco too, man. Yeah, at the time when him and Alex Wright was doing that dance off, I hated it. Many years later now, I laugh about it. It was funny.
Yeah.
Good comedy.
Yeah. Alex
Yeah.
Wright, there's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Alex Wright, yeah, man. He's actually considered he actually has a wrestling school out in I think Germany,
Yeah.
and his school is considered the number one wrestling school in Germany. So he's doing very well for what I understand.
Yeah, I know. I heard he opened a shop in Germany. I didn't think he was really from Germany. I thought it was just the character. But yeah, he's really from
Right,
Germany.
right. And another name from the past. You remember Glacier?
Yeah.
It's been reported that Glacier is now working backstage AEW, helping with training and stuff like that.
I don't know if that's a wise call or not, because while he had a mediocre success, he wasn't all that. His career wasn't all that long with WCW. I mean, I don't know if he went somewhere else or was from
Yeah,
somewhere
no,
else.
he actually went into law enforcement.
Did he?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to discredit the guy or anything. He was
right.
a good performer. I just think the gimmick was kind of cheesy.
Yeah. I mean, which was really surprising that during that time period at WCW, they came up with that type of a gimmick because they broke away from the cartoonish video game type gimmicks because this was during the whole NWO thing, right?
Yeah.
I think Glacier might have been there a little bit before NWO, but he was still there during NWO as well. So yeah, it was a little surprising that they didn't break him away from that gimmick after this whole NWO thing happened.
Well, they should have stopped all the gimmicks after what Shockmaster fell through the wall. Right there and then that should have told them, all right, let's stop this stupid shit, or the Zodiac.
Yeah, that was. I mean, look, but you never know, man. Look at Kane. Look how many gimmicks Kane went through. I mean, for the love of God, he was I can't remember the dentist, which was
Yep.
terrible,
Yep.
terrible. And then, boom, he
He was
struck home with Kane.
yeah.
But look,
He was the Christmas
but
Grinch or some shit.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you never know, man. Because think about this. On paper, on paper, The Undertaker, the gimmick on paper, read about this guy with supernatural powers, Walking Dead man. That sounds hokey and silly. Just it sounds terrible.
Yet there was a 30-year career off of it.
Right. You get the right person who's able to get it over. One of the best gimmicks in professional wrestling to this very day.
I don't know if he would have pulled it off as well without um, Percy Pringle. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. Paul, oh, you son of a bitch. You do this to me when you forget shit.
I know. I can't. Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, these two guys though had great chemistry because that wasn't the first time him and Paul Bearer had been together. I mean, they in other companies, they were together. Uh, I think that it still would have taken off though because Paul Bearer was only with the Undertaker off and on for during short periods of time, and I mean, the Undertaker never lost his popularity. I mean, yeah, at one point, Mark Calloway knew that he needed to do something differently. Hence, we got the American Badass, but nonetheless, he was still the Undertaker. But even before then, the Undertaker was doing little things like changing the colors, the purple color and stuff like that to give the Undertaker a fresh new look as best as you can, But yeah, I mean, look, you never know. Something that may sound silly, the right person gets the gimmick and they'll run with it. And the Undertaker it will always be probably one of the most, if not the most popular gimmick type wrestler, in wrestling history.
Yeah, yeah. I think the thing that made Undertaker special is they didn't really overly use him. I think he
Right.
was used more as American Badass than he
Yeah.
was as the Undertaker. I mean, I think we saw more of him on a weekly basis as American Badass than we saw him as the Undertaker. I mean, to me, the Undertaker was on once every 3 4 weeks. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so there wasn't an over abuse of it. So it was almost like a refreshing oddity.
Mhm.
At least at the beginning.
Right. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there wasn't certain storylines that made me shake my head with Undertaker. The one that if someone asks me what was the worst storyline you've ever seen the Undertaker involved in, the one that will always come to my mind was the storyline where they're about to sacrifice Stephanie McMahon and Stone Cold. I mean, that was just some silly shit, right? But that wasn't Undertaker's fault. That was creative. Terry wants to know, did you guys see Taker and Trick the disrespect segment? Yes, and it was great.
Yes,
Great.
it was. Yes, it was.
Loved
And
it.
it's nice to see Undertaker get physical at his age
Right.
still. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and I like Trick, but yeah, you don't bark in the big dog's backyard.
Well, the thing about Trick is Trick's one of these guys that he plays a really good guy that you just want to see his ass get kicked. You
Pretty
know,
much.
and you mess with the Undertaker, and that's exactly what happened. But yeah, that's the recap of Friday Night Smackdown. I B plus. Mark gave it a solid B. Uh, Join us again on Wednesday, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday. Full crew. Myself, Mark, Bob Cook, Gerald, hopefully Kurt will be back. That's kind of our A show, I guess. And we'll be doing the recap of Monday Night Raw, plus talking about God knows what else on that show. And again, I have some really great guests coming on the show next week. So be sure to watch out for those. Until then, Mark,
I'm gonna go get my bell rung.
that's right, everybody. Get your bell rung. You guys have a great weekend.